From California just about an hour ago now. No comment to Fox from the DOJ as of this hour. A source there saying that there are several investigations into people around Newsom, including his wife and his former chief of staff, and they originate from whistleblowers. Fox News asking for clarity out of Newsom's office around what he means when he says the DOJ is demanding records. That has not been defined. We'll update you as soon as we get more word on that.
An FBI wire, a former Newsom chief of staff, a federal corruption case. Recorded calls. And now, Gavin Newsom himself says the Department of Justice is investigating him and his wife. Now, let me be clear from the beginning. Gavin Newsom has not been charged with a crime yet. But the story is bigger than just one charge. The story is bigger than just one headline. The story is bigger than one political party. Because when federal investigators are recording conversations around Sacramento power players, and a former top aide to the governor has already pleaded guilty, us folks in California have every right to ask this one simple question. What exactly has been going on behind these closed doors?
In recent days, federal agents have knocked on the doors of family, friends, and former employees. Not because they found a crime, because they're simply trying to find one. They're demanding records. They're abusing the grand jury process, digging through years and years of random documents. Donald Trump isn't just coming after me because of my mean tweets. He's coming after me because I'm considering running for president.
Now, that was Gavin Newsom's version of the story. He says this is political revenge. He says that Trump's DOJ is coming after him because he might run for president. Now, we've known he was going to run for president for years now. He says that federal agents are digging through records. They're contacting people close to him, and they're trying to find a crime. Okay. Let him make that argument. But here's the part that people cannot ignore. This investigation did not appear out of thin air. No. It was already a corruption case. There was already recorded calls. There was already letters sent to people around the California Capitol saying some of their conversations may have been intercepted. So before we turn this into another left versus right circus, let's deal with the part that's real.
An FBI alert going out to California Capitol lawmakers and lobbyists. The alert, the FBI may have recorded their phone conversations as part of the investigation into former Governor Gavin Newsom's chief of staff, Dana Williamson.
Now, that's the part that should make us all stop. Because here's the thing. When folks around the Capitol start getting letters saying the FBI may have recorded their conversations, that's not a normal Tuesday in Sacramento. That means investigators were already deep inside the system. And this is where the story gets serious. You see, the name at the center of the original corruption case is Dana Williamson. She was not just some random consultant. No. She was Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, one of the most powerful people in California politics. And the allegations were not small. Campaign money, no-show work, false tax claims, false statements to the FBI. That's not gossip. That's federal court territory.
That breaking news, Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff walking out of the courtroom today in Sacramento, facing charges in a federal investigation along with other people. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Andrea Flores.
I'm Golston Dart. Dana Williamson is facing charges that include fraud, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making false statements. KCRA3 political director Ashley Zavala joining us now with what we know about what this is a blockbuster investigation.
It is. And tonight, for the first time, we're learning Governor Gavin Newsom's office says that Dana Williamson was put on leave as soon as she informed them last year that she was under criminal investigation. Dana Williamson is one of the most powerful people in California's political system. She was arrested this morning and released this afternoon on a $500,000 bond. She's accused of conspiring with Javier Becerra's former chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, to take $225,000 from Becerra's political campaign account. Javier Becerra is the former U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary under President Joe Biden and former California Attorney General. He is running for California governor right now. Investigators say this happened between 2022 and 2024, which started before but continued while she was working for Governor Gavin Newsom. She faces 23 federal charges related to that, including wire fraud, bank fraud, obstruction of justice, and false tax documents. Williamson pleaded not guilty today in federal court. Her alleged co-conspirators, Sean McCluskey and well-known Sacramento lobbyist Greg Campbell, have plea deals, according to court documents. In a statement, Javier Becerra said, quote, "The news today of formal accusations of impropriety by a long-serving trusted advisor are a gut punch."
Now here's where the story moves from accusation to consequence, because Dana Williamson later pleaded guilty. That matters because most of these stories are just smoke. But this one has paperwork. This one has federal charges. This one has guilty pleas. This one has the DOJ saying campaign funds were funneled through different business entities and disguised as payment for a no-show job. Again, that does not mean Gavin Newsom is guilty of anything. But it does mean the people around power were operating in a world where money, campaigns, consulting firms, government access, and personal relationships were all tangled together. And that is exactly the kind of world regular Californians never get to see.
See the guys.
Dana Williamson walked into federal court Thursday with private security and a plea deal. Inside the courtroom where cameras are not allowed, Williamson pled guilty to 3 felony charges, including conspiracy to commit wire and bank fraud. Prosecutors say she helped Javier Becerra's longtime chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, funnel $225,000 out of one of Becerra's campaign accounts. The money went to the personal bank account of McCluskey's wife. Becerra had served as California's attorney general before joining President Joe Biden's cabinet as Health and Human Services secretary. Court records say McCluskey took a pay cut to follow him to Washington, D.C. The issue has been hanging over the California governor's race, in which Becerra is the Democratic frontrunner. I asked him about all of this last month.
I mean, I just want to confirm on the record here, like, you were really, truly misled there.
Yeah, as I said, gut punch.
Separate from that crime, Williamson also pled guilty to filing false taxes and making false statements to the FBI.
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. She remained tight-lipped as she walked back to her car Thursday.
Ms. Williamson, is Javier Becerra a victim in this?
This idea to take money from the Becerra account originated with Sean McCluskey. This was his idea.
McGregor Scott is Williamson's lawyer.
Did Javier Becerra know that this was happening?
I have no way of knowing that. I've never spoken to Mr. Becerra about it.
But did Dana tell you that he knew?
My client has told me from day one that she never had any direct communication with Javier Becerra about this. Her communication about this whole concept was exclusively through Mr. McCluskey. So you're going to have to ask Mr. Becerra.
A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office said Becerra is not implicated in the case. Becerra said in a statement, "As I said from day one, I was not involved. I did nothing wrong, and now the record confirms it. We can close the book on this."
You say to yourself, why? What was her motivation? Her motivation was singular and heart-rending. She was trying to help a friend in a hard time.
Now we get to the part that made this story explode. Reports now say Alexis Podesta, another Sacramento insider connected to this world, allegedly cooperated with federal investigators and wore wire. Let me say that carefully. This claim is being reported through Dana Williamson's attorney. So we're not going to say this as if a court has already proven every detail, no. But if that reporting is accurate, it means the FBI did not just stumble across paperwork. It means somebody inside the political orbit may have been secretly recording conversations, and that changes the feel of this whole story, because then the question becomes, what did the FBI already know? Who were they trying to catch? And how wide was the net around Sacramento's political machine?
Well. Feels like 2009 all over again. Remember when they got Bob Blagojevich, Illinois governor, on tape trying to sell Obama's Senate seat when Obama became president? Now, it seems they have their eyes on Newsom. So Blago got what, 14 years? Served 8? Wonder what's going to happen with Newsom. I wonder, is there going to be prison time? I wonder what's going to happen when they start to dig into the finances of his nonprofits. And we already know the amount of fraud that's in California. We already know. How much is he benefiting from that fraud? That's the question. I wonder what the FBI has. And I hope we get to hear those phone calls, because just like Blago in 2009, I think there's something there.
Here's the part I want people to really understand. This is not just about Newsom. This is not just about Trump. This is not just about Democrats or Republicans. This is about a political culture where the same names keep circulating through government, campaigns, consulting firms, nonprofits, lobbying circles, and private influence networks. One day, they are in office. The next day, they are consulting. Then they are advising campaigns. Then they are connected to state money, campaign money, legal settlements, or nonprofit donations. And regular folks, you, me, are supposed to believe none of these relationships matter. That's the insult. The insult is not just corruption. The insult is how normal they expect corruption-adjacent behavior to feel.
An FBI alert going out to California Capitol lawmakers and lobbyists. The FBI may have recorded their phone conversations as part of the investigation into former Governor Gavin Newsom's chief of staff, Dana Williamson.
Of course, Newsom wants to frame this as political persecution. And maybe some of it is political. Let's be honest. In modern America, everything involving a major political figure has a political layer. But that does not erase the accountability layer. You can believe Trump weaponizes government and still ask why Newsom's former chief of staff pleaded guilty. You can believe investigations should never be abused and still ask why FBI letters were going out to Sacramento insiders. You can believe Newsom deserves due process and still say Californians deserve transparency. Those are not contradictions. That is called being an adult. Because if your standard changes depending on whether the politician has a D or an R next to their name, then you are not demanding justice. You are just defending a tribe, a team, a cult, a clan. And this is why Californians need to pay attention. Because the same political class that tells you they need more money, more taxes, more emergency powers, more programs, more committees, more agencies, and more authority is now being forced to answer questions about what happens inside the machine they are in. Meanwhile, normal folks, they're drowning. Rent is insane. Gas, insane. Insurance, insane. Homelessness keeps getting funded, but never solved. Roads, they look like Beirut. Crime is normalized. It's okay for a smash and grab. You can be in Walgreens and just watch people walk in and walk out with a basket full of stuff. Businesses are leaving, and every time the public asks where the money went, all we get is another speech or another politician standing in front of a hamburger stand. So, when a corruption case starts touching people close to power, we can't look away. We need to lean in. So here's the honest takeaway. We don't know where the investigation ends. Maybe Newsom is right, and this becomes a political fight over DOJ power. Maybe investigators find nothing on him personally. Maybe this stays focused on people around him. Or maybe this opens up something much bigger. But what we already do know is enough to justify serious questions. A former top Newsom aide pleaded guilty. The FBI recorded or intercepted communications connected to the corruption probe. Sacramento insiders received letters. A reported cooperating insider may have worn a wire. And Newsom is now publicly fighting the investigation before the full picture is even out. That is a major California story. And if the media tries to bury it under partisan noise, guess what? That tells you exactly why channels like this need to exist. This channel, California Underground, California Insider, the list goes on and on and on, because California does not need more political theater. California needs sunlight. This is Will Kage, Los Angeles, and we're going to keep watching because our future kind of depends on it.